Hello and welcome to the first video in our YouTube series for economics with Coach Lambert. So a few things to get out of the way. I will be doing hopefully very short YouTube videos and uploading and just let you click the link and watch them at your own convenience within the week. I will not be doing Zoom meetings. I'm sure you guys have had a lot of Zoom meetings come up or discussed or talked about. I will not be doing that. It will be very difficult for me during the day. But I can do these YouTube videos a little more convenient time for me instead of meeting on a computer. So our first lesson, we're going to have a few key points. It's just 3 definitions. I'll explain them, and then I'll give you a little bit of direction for the actual assignment that I'll upload to Google Classroom. It should be a Google Doc with some questions, explanations. Please write complete sentences. If I ask for a paragraph, you know that does not mean 1 sentence or 2 sentences. So we'll get to it. This is my kid's easel. So bear with me. So the key points, the real GDP. GDP stands for gross domestic product. The real GDP is different in that it just for inflation. So gross domestic product is just all the manufacturing and production that we have in our country for 1 year. The real GDP is just a better representation of how much money we actually have. The next is recession. This is important because we are on our way to a possible recession right now because of coronavirus. So this happens when the real GDP goes down for 6 straight months or half a year. We've had several throughout our history. We had one back in 2008. Like I said, very real possibility we could have another one right now. So this is just saying the gross domestic product and everything that we manufacture within a year goes down for 6 months in a row. And then lastly, unemployment rate. This is relevant because when there is a recession and the real GDP is down, our unemployment rate typically goes up. And what that is just the percentage of people in the civilian workforce who are not working but looking for jobs. Now, there are some skeptics behind unemployment rate because if you don't file for unemployment, then you don't go into that percentage. So there's a lot of people who are not actively seeking employment, and that can kind of skew those numbers according to some people. But right now, if you're paying attention to the news at all, our unemployment rate, we've had more people file for unemployment across the country and even in Arkansas than probably ever for the past week recently, first week of April, because of coronavirus and all the layoffs in restaurants and manufacturing and things that are closed. A lot of people are filing for unemployment because they're not working, and it's not by their choice. It was just because of this unforeseen pandemic that we have. Now, to finish this up, real simple, those definitions, you will have to have them written down. So obviously you pause the video, you can write them, that's fine. These are the definitions directly from our book. Now, what I want you to understand is not just the real gross domestic product, but explain what gross domestic product is. Okay, so that's going to be just your own definition. You can write down, you can Google definition and then reword it and explain in your own words, please. The next one is inflation. I've had some students ask in the past in class, what is inflation, how does inflation work, etc. So it's a little difficult to explain. So what I want you to do, I want you to look up what inflation is. I know many of you will try to copy and paste it. If you do that, once again, I want you to explain in your own words what that means. That means you may have to look up more than one site or more than one definition of inflation and how that works. The way I can always explain it, the easiest way to explain is the value of our dollar has changed, obviously. If you see a Coca-Cola back in the 50s cost, a dime, obviously a 20-ounce Coke today costs $1.60, depending on where you go. That's part of inflation. Minimum wage has been adjusted, hopefully, for inflation. Up to this point now, that's $10 an hour because things cost more money. A house in the 70s and the 80s did not cost as much as a house does today. So that's because of inflation. So I want you to be able to have that definition also and explain what it is, okay? And the last part of the assignment is going to be just one paragraph over how real GDP, recession, and unemployment are all related. And if you really want to do a great job on it, you can use the current situation that we have right now in our country. If you can write just one paragraph, I'm looking for 7 sentences or more, please. That will be the last part of our assignment, and you will see that on Google Classroom. Thank you. Say bye.
Bye.